The inspiration of Ronaldinho represents something deeper. There are moments in sport that feel bigger than sport itself. A ball rolls across the grass. A player approaches. Nothing about the scene suggests history is about to bend, and yet, when the touch comes, something changes. The crowd gasps, not because of a goal, not because of a result, but because of a feeling. A sudden realization that what they are watching is not just competition. It is expression. It is freedom. It is possibility. That feeling followed everywhere he played, and it continues to follow his legacy long after the matches themselves have ended. Because the inspiration he gave was never just about football. It represented something deeper, something human. Beyond skill, the emotional spark. Many players are remembered for excellence. They master technique, win trophies, and build careers defined by achievement. Yet inspiration is different from admiration. Admiration says, that player is great. Inspiration says, maybe I can create something too. Ronaldinho sparked inspiration not because he was unreachable, but because he made greatness feel playful. His movements resembled curiosity rather than calculation. When he dribbled, it looked less like execution and more like discovery, as though he were inventing solutions in real time. People did not just watch him. They imagined themselves trying, and that subtle shift transformed spectators into participants, dreamers into doers. A reminder of play in a world of pressure. Modern life often demands structure, productivity, and measurable outcomes. Success is tracked, compared, and analyzed constantly. Even sport, at its highest levels, can reflect that same seriousness. Ronaldinho reminded audiences of something older and simpler: play has value. Not play as distraction. Play as creativity. Play as exploration. Play as a way of understanding the world. When he smiled during matches, it wasn't a gesture of ease, it was a philosophy in action. He showed that joy and excellence could coexist, that pressure did not need to erase personality. That message resonates far beyond football fields. Creativity is courage. Trying something unexpected in front of thousands of people requires courage. Creativity always carries risk. The possibility of failure, misunderstanding, or criticism. Ronaldinho embraced that risk visibly. He attempted passes others would avoid. He chose improvisation when predictability seemed safer. Sometimes it worked brilliantly. Sometimes it didn't. But the willingness itself became inspirational. It suggested that creativity is not reserved for artists or innovators in studios, it belongs everywhere, even in competitive arenas. His example encouraged people to approach their own fields with similar boldness, whether in sport, education, work, or art. Inspiration, in this sense, became transferable. The universal language of joy. One reason his influence traveled so widely is that joy requires no translation. Fans from different countries, cultures, and backgrounds responded to the same moments with the same reactions: laughter, amazement, applause. That universality revealed something deeper about sport's role in society. Football became not just entertainment, but a shared emotional experience capable of bridging divides. Ronaldinho's style amplified that effect because it emphasized connection over domination. Even opponents sometimes found themselves smiling at what they had just witnessed. In a competitive environment, that kind of shared joy is rare and powerful, redefining what greatness looks like. Traditional definitions of greatness often revolve around discipline, sacrifice, and relentless focus. Those qualities certainly matter, but Ronaldinho expanded the definition. He showed that greatness could also include spontaneity, humor, individual expression, emotional openness. This broader vision allowed more people to see themselves reflected in the idea of success. You did not need to suppress personality to excel, you could incorporate it. That message changed how many young athletes approached development, not as imitation of a rigid model, but as exploration of their own style. Memory that feels alive. Some sporting achievements remain impressive yet distant, preserved in statistics or archives. Ronaldinho's moments feel alive because they were rooted in feeling rather than numbers. People remember where they were when they saw certain plays, but more importantly, they remember how those moments made them feel: surprised, delighted, inspired. Emotional memory lasts longer than factual recall. It shapes identity, influences choices, and becomes part of personal narratives. That is why his legacy persists not just in football discussions, but in conversations about creativity, confidence, and joy. Influence without instruction. Interestingly, Ronaldinho rarely needed to explain his philosophy. He did not deliver lectures on creativity or write manifestos about expression. He demonstrated. By playing the way he did, he allowed others to interpret meaning for themselves. This made the inspiration more powerful because it felt discovered rather than taught. People did not feel told to value joy. They experienced why it mattered. A symbol of freedom within structure. Football, like life, operates within rules. Lines define the field. Time limits the match. Objectives guide behavior. Yet within those constraints, Ronaldinho found space for freedom. That balance mirrors a broader human challenge: how to remain imaginative inside systems that demand order. His example suggests that structure does not eliminate creativity, it can frame it, giving expression a stage rather than a cage. This insight applies far beyond sport, to education systems, workplaces, and communities seeking innovation without chaos. Inspiration that continues to evolve. Even as football evolves technologically and tactically, Ronaldinho's influence adapts. Digital media allows new generations to encounter his style instantly, absorbing its spirit even if they never saw him play live. Clips circulate, reactions spread, and young players reinterpret his ideas in modern contexts. Inspiration becomes dynamic rather than fixed. It is less about copying specific moves and more about embracing a mindset: be brave enough to enjoy what you do. The deeper meaning. So what does the inspiration of Ronaldinho truly represent? It represents the belief that excellence and humanity are not separate pursuits. That competition can coexist with kindness, ambition with joy, mastery with playfulness. It suggests that the highest achievements are not those that dominate others, but those that awaken something within them. A desire to try, to create, to smile, to connect. The enduring echo. Long after individual matches fade from memory, the echo of that inspiration remains. It appears every time someone attempts something imaginative instead of safe, every time a game is played with laughter as well as effort, every time creativity is chosen over fear. That is why his legacy feels deeper than sport. It lives wherever people remember that what they do can be both meaningful and joyful at once. And that may be the most powerful influence any athlete can leave behind.